For today's Which Word of the Day, I am choosing karmic adjective.
Ooh.
No. And karmic describes the relationship between a person's mental or physical action and the consequences following that action. It also signifies the consequences of all the actions of a person in their current and previous lives and the chain of cause and effect immorality. Karma's a bitch, yeah.
And now so am I.
Furthermore, karma is about righting a wrong and achieving balance. It is something that we are actively creating together with the important people in our lives. Our soul contracts, real life soul contracts, are binding agreements by the law of karma that we make before we are born with our various soulmates in order to help each other along the often rocky, arduous path through our many lifetimes.
She's so dramatic.
I know, but there you go. Karmic.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
This is Kevin, and welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published material in the Charmed universe and decide how it fits into the grand narrative of the TV series.
All right, so welcome to Words of the Witches. I'm your resident Charmed resource, Kevin.
And I'm Sean. I just love comic books.
And we have a wonderful person joining us today. It's Aaron Rhodes, like Jennifer Rhodes, but Aaron.
Right.
Oh.
Right. We love it. We love a good penny. We love a good penny moment.
Yes.
Oh, how's
So
everybody doing?
we're here.
Good.
Oh my
We're
goodness.
excited.
Amazing.
We're here. I'm pretty queer. Let's get into this. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
You got your nice bright flower shirt on. I'm loving
You know,
it.
I had to
It's
represent. I had to
tropical.
represent. You know.
It is Pride Month. Pride Month is here.
You
We're
know?
going to go in with style.
Right. You know, we had to.
So I found you because you have a wonderful TikTok now where you're covering some Charmed
Yes.
comic book stuff, making your analyses and
Mhm.
explanations to the peoples. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So talk about your Charmed journey. How did you discover the show? And then talk about how you discovered the comics, I guess.
Let's do it. So the way I got into Charmed, it was one of those things where I was little and I always passed by in the morning. I would always see it on and I was like, I'm going to sit here and watch this. And as soon as I saw an episode, I was just like, oh, this is it. So I instantly started watching it more. And then I remember on TNT, they used to show it in the morning and then the evening. So I would catch it in the evening too. And then I was like, that's a different girl from the one that I just saw. So I just I made it to my point. I was like, you know what? I think I have to tell my mom I had to get the DVDs because I have to see the whole thing. And instantly, as soon as I started watching it, I was instantly hooked. They are my reason for my magic and fantasy love. The Charm ones have always been they're in my veins now, to this point. And ever since I think I got into it probably around season 4 as season 4 was starting. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start watching it then. And then I got into it, and then of course I cried through the first 3 seasons before I got through this one, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stop right here. But ever since then I've always been in love with it. But the comics, I found out about them probably I think as the season 9 was wrapping up, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna someone told me, I just saw it on a link, and I was like, no way. So I clicked it and I was like, no, they're not. And when I tell you, it was such a visceral scream that I made in the store as I saw that, and I was like, yeah, this is my life. I thought that the world hated me, but then it was like, no, this was the power of 3 coming back to me, and that rhymed, and I love that. And ever since then I just love the comics. The comics were everything that I wanted, especially season 9.
You read them all? You read season 10 too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're rereading it. You're getting back into it, rediscovering. It's exciting though. I'm glad that people are reading them and bringing them to the masses
Right.
like you.
Right, because I didn't know that people didn't know about them until I started doing my TikToks about them, and like I didn't expect it to blow up the way it did. But then I was like, you know what, people really do love Charmed, I guess. And I was like, okay, we're here for this. We love a good Hollowell. And ever since, and like the more I do them, I was like, so people see it, like so people understand. And then when I did the comics, they were like, wait, there are comics of them. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry that you have gone your whole life without knowing.
Oh, honey.
Right. Oh, honey, if you knew the amazingness of all of them, have you seen the children yet? Like, and it's been a whirlwind ever since.
And that's, part of why I started this podcast, bringing these stories to the people, let them know.
Yes.
Oh, let's start this comic. Ooh.
Yes.
So this is episode 82 of Words of the Witches, but this comic is season 10, issue 7, Hard Knox Life, published April 22nd, 2015.
My birthday?
Your birthday!
Hey! Yes! So this is meant for you.
I think that was the same date that the Iceman Coming Out of the Closet comic came out.
Ooh,
Oh.
Would I tell you that was a good comic. Jean Grey outing Iceman is the best thing in the world. I just didn't. I never thought I'd be okay with an outing moment until I read that, and she was like, "But you're gay," and I was like, "What?" I was like,
right.
"Bitch, how dare you?" Like, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There you go. That was it was an event. That's for sure.
For sure.
It was.
Written by Pat Shand, artwork by D-Matt, colors by Valentina Cuomo, letters by Christy Sawyer, edited by Paul Ruditis, and cover art by David Seidman. And we have this cover with our Piper in this.
Baby.
Yeah, this aqua light, this green aqua light with all these creepy looking glowy eye man. And we do have, like you pointed out last week, Sean, there's a little in the far background, that clock tower, which we can assume is Knox Academy.
Yes.
Oh my God, I did not realize that actually. You have an eye.
Detail.
Okay, all right.
So page 1. We've got this crazy glowy eye burger demon Rob Zombie over here, Hellbilly Deluxe.
You're not
That's
wrong.
the perfect description for it, and thank you for that, because now that will be my forever canon.
There you go. Yes. It says 5 months ago. And this is our rhyme time moment, too.
Should we try a spell?
Why not? Let's try a spell.
In the wind, I sing this rhyme. Bring death before me, before my time. You've really got to lay off the rhyming, Brew.
Wonderful. Witty, but wordy. I did the rhyme. I will do the time. Good night.
So I read the spell that he's saying. It says, "The destroyer prince sleeps while a rotten heart beats within a rotten world. Rise so that your brethren may follow. Rise so that you may squeeze the wasted life from this wretched ball that humanity has claimed." And while he's doing that, he's holding the head of our male witch, our gorgeous germaphobe witch. And he's like, "Please, I have a kids and a family. Oh, God." So he's taking over him. He's putting, I guess, Gaxagiel into this innocent man. Oh,
Right.
Oh.
So, like, the next page goes into Phoebe and Piper, and it's a little moment where, like, Piper is talking about how she's been living a normal life, and and she's enjoying, her time with Leo in a sense, wink, wink, hint, hint. But yeah, Phoebe noticed that she's been glowing ever since, but she says that they've been really going well, and for a while she's always felt like, the universe has always pulled them apart, because they have. And now she finally gets a chance to feel like they can finally relax, and it's kind of a beautiful moment. And then
Yeah. And then
Yeah, I
have
guess
to point
Phoebe's
out
getting
real
on her
quick-
tour again, right?
Yes,
Phoebe's
yes.
on her
Phoebe's
tour.
going back on tour.
I have to point out real quick. I have a type. I have a type of guy. This guy in this hat with the little V on his shirt. I'm like, yes, mama.
Okay, a little bit. You know, he is flaring up my fuckboy tendencies, and I kind of
Right?
love that. I kind of love that, actually.
Mhm.
Like, are you in a band?
Do you have a sleep tattoo? What?
I was like, wow.
Daddy?
Oh.
But I do love that they mentioned the whole of Leo's butt. I love that they still bring that up now, and I'm like, it's
Yep.
unmatched. I love a
Yeah.
good
Well,
Leo
that's this
butt
next
moment.
page. Sean, tell us about this butt page.
Do it.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
right. Let's get into the butt. So on this page, and this is when I noticed this is a different artist, right, than the normal season 10 artist.
Yeah, this is the same artist as last issue, but that last issue was a new artist. So this issue and the last issue are the same, but it's different from
Because
earlier.
I like this art. Like, it doesn't necessarily always look like the girls, but you can at least tell who it is. So I'm down with this art.
Okay. Yeah.
So Piper and Phoebe are talking. Piper's like, "Oh, please, I love my kids. Don't get me wrong, but Leo and I we're perfectly happy as it is." So she doesn't want more kids. Her and Leo are doing well. And then Phoebe's like, "Oh, look at you. That's wonderful." And she's like, "Just remember to appreciate him." And then Piper's like, "You're talking about his butt again, aren't you?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm totally talking about his butt. Look at it."
We love it. We love it.
Yes.
And then Leo comes over and he's like, "What are you guys talking about?" And Phoebe's like, "Your butt." No.
I'm gonna touch the butt.
I'm going to touch the butt.
Can we talk
And
about
they-
how crazy of a story it would be if Phoebe would have gotten with Piper with Leo first, guys?
Right.
Oh, that would have been
Right.
tumultuous.
I know.
They would have been together for like a year if that.
Right. I was like, no, you're too healthy for me. I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's true like real life, you know.
Yeah.
Like, we were dated in real life, so yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. And they really did only
Yeah.
last like a year.
That
Yeah.
happened, guys. Oh God.
Yeah. And then somebody off screen says, "Sneaky." Somebody being sneaky.
Yeah. And so the next page, we see porny Professor Xavier, Mr. Knox.
Yes. Oh, these descriptions are unmatched. I love this.
We got you covered here at Words of the Witches.
I feel so secure right now. You guys have no idea.
Yeah.
You're in a safe space.
Yes.
Yes.
But he's like, yes, I'd agree that sneaky is the perfect word for Mr. Wyatt. And Phoebe's like, Knox, Montgomery Knox? Question mark.
Eyebrows.
For dramatic effect.
Yes. Piper's like, hey, what do you want with my husband? Don't insult my husband. Only I can insult my husband. Leo's like, Piper, wait. And Piper's like, what do you want? And then he's like, well, maybe your husband isn't telling you everything he's supposed to. Ooh.
Yes.
And then she's like, Leo, what's he talking about?
It's wild because I literally heard her voice.
Yeah. And then he's like, Knox is like, Mr. Wyatt, get Paige here. You promised me all the charmed ones. And then he's like, we should go in the manor. And then Piper's like, well, so much for relaxation.
And true love.
Yeah.
So the next page we enter in with Knox saying, which is iconic, oh, this is deliciously awkward. And he's giving Bi King energy right here, and we love it for him. But Piper says, Leo, what's going on? And Leo tries to explain to them that he was trying to find a way out of it before he got there, but Knox tells him that he has gotten into a soul agreement, and that a soul agreement basically ties him and binds him to his soul, and that he has to follow these orders unless, he dies. But Knox says, but he says a soul agreement. You know what a soul agreement, and Piper says, "Yeah, it's not hard to figure out what a soul agreement is. Like,
Calm down.
1 + 1 is 2. Like, and like." But of course, they had to get it. They had to do it because of a few issues before we get the ancient Athame information from it, and this is the result of that. So the deal goes into effect, and now he brings up the whole. He says Leo, the Avatar, the Fallen Elder, the God Killer. If he's a Boy Scout, then I'm the Pope. And
Rude.
Just rude and
Snaps.
right, snaps across the board though. And we always love a good mention of Leo's Avatar days, because I miss that. But he explains to them that they need the information, which is true. They needed that information, but
Yeah.
it still didn't work out the way they wanted to, unfortunately.
No.
My
And Knox
heart.
likes to just rub that in the next page. He goes, but someone died anyway, right, Phoebe? Somebody died anyway. I'm truly sorry for your loss, Phoebe. But somebody died, right? Cole died. Cole, you were in love with. Cole Turner, who fucked the baby into you, but didn't. Cole died, right?
Balthazar, I mean Cole.
And then Phoebe's like, do not. And then she's like, I have to go. They're waiting for me. And she starts to storm off. And Knox does the worst thing ever. Porny Professor X. He grabs her by the wrist and he says,
Ooh, yes.
Is your prior engagement more important than Leo's life? The deal was the charmed ones. Piper's like, let her go. I'll do anything to help you, and so will Paige, but my sister has put her life on hold enough. She's gonna finish her fucking book tour, and we will help you. Paige, Leo, and I are enough because Leo can bring out his feminine side.
Period.
Period. And then Knox is like, fine. I don't love it, but it'll do. And then we have Paige blorbling in, and she goes, hey guys, what did I miss? Why does everyone look so mad?
And see, this page, the emotion in this with Phoebe, she's like, don't fucking talk to me, don't fucking touch me. I'm like,
too soon.
It's fierce.
Right.
I love it though.
Right. It's given like too soon. It's too soon.
Yeah.
Right. But it's so weird because the same artist did the issue last week where she made the orbs good, but now she's trying to mimic the orbs from the previous artist in this weird watery goo orbing. I don't like that art.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
It's like, stick to your good orbs.
Yeah.
So, and this is where they sit down on the couch and Knox talks to them and tells them his story. He's like, it must be easy for you who have made your purpose of dividing life into good and evil. It's like, but that's not going to cut it for me. Which I think is such a good point, because Charm does like to lump things into good and evil.
Yes.
When we know for certain that morality is much more complicated and much more nuanced than that. We see it all the time with characters. Right. Far more gray area.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm like, kudos for Knox for calling him out on it.
Yeah.
But he's like, here's my story. He's like, and you might believe that I too am evil with your twisted views, but whatever. He's like, long ago, I was a baby. And I was born of a witch and a warlock. Isn't that interesting? How they work together at all, but gray area, people, gray area.
Exactly. Like Phoebe is the queen of gray areas.
Yeah. And the dick was just that good. She was like, give it to me, evil warlock daddy.
Big dot, big dot, big dot. Exactly.
So yeah, they love each other, but then they split because they were on opposite sides and they wanted their son to pick a side. And he's like, go to hell! And so he left them. He's like, I'm leaving. You guys are crazy bitches. And they apparently destroyed each other in the fight. Lovely.
Mhm.
And so he is all by himself. And then he starts to feel a little sad because he loved his parents and he's mourning them now. Sad. But he goes to this sorcerer. He finds his way to the sorcerer, the Hellbilly Deluxe Rob Zombie guy. And he became his mentor. And his name was Aldakos. What a weird name.
Very weird name. That's definitely demonic for sure, guys.
Yeah.
But he goes in. Knox goes into saying that he wasn't what you would call a good man. In fact, though he had once been, the magic he practiced turned him into something not much like a man at all. He agreed to train me deeply in the magics and knowledge of all magic, black and white, new and old, in exchange for a soul agreement. And then has the nerve to tell Leo, "See, Leo, you and I aren't that different." The thing is, I had no choice. Your situation was very different from that. Like,
Right.
God. But he says but he goes in to say that Kos was secretive. Every word he spoke was a riddle. I bound my soul to his request that in 33 years he would call on me for a favor, and I would ask no questions. He disappeared not long after my training was complete, and I thought him dead. I thought my soul was safe. No such luck. He came to me last month, so I could begin preparing for the favor. He was amazed by the Knox Academy, an institute of magical education, of true education, not like your idealistic magic school run by his charge. At first, I thought he was proud, but pride isn't something Alder Coes feels. He has been planning a ritual called the Advent, the resurrection of the old ones. Gasp. And
Gasp.
I do kind of love the idea. Like, when I first saw Knox Academy, I instantly loved it because I was like, I feel like there should be a place like of even both good and evil can learn like magic. And like, I've kind of always loved that little stance that he had for it. Like, we're never gonna go too far, not too on the tip of the scales. We're just gonna be right here in the middle.
Yeah.
But then there's always someone to fuck it up, and in this case, it's
Always.
Knox. Knox is the one who fucked it up.
Literally. Oh,
Yeah.
oh God. Oh, Mr. Montgomery Knox.
Yeah, Corny Professor X.
Corny Professor X.
So then we see Paige say the old ones, like Kixagio, and then Piper's like, what the fuck ever? We vanquished him. We vanquished him. And then Porny Professor X says, you can't vanquish an old one. What you saw was a human, a witch. Kos was captured, possessed of a sword. It's Aldercoats' life work, the resurrection of the old ones, and thus returning the world to a state of old magic. He's very bitchy sounding to me.
Yeah.
I can't help but read him like that.
I read him like I read Mr. Sinister.
There you go. I heard Mr. Sinister is on season 16 of RuPaul's Drag Race, and I'm living for it.
I'm here for it, and we support him in everything that she does.
So we continue the story of Knox. He says he has managed to physically manifest the souls of old ones as seeds. Those seeds can hatch within a powerful witch, like what you saw with Gixagiel. But those shells are only temporary. They need to grow, but there isn't a body on Earth strong enough to carry them. So one of our sisters, or Leo, says, which is why Gixagiel wanted to devour us if he took in the power of 3. So not Leo. Then,
Right.
Knox says he could rebirth the old ones and turn this world into their feeding ground. And then they ask, what does this have to do with you, Knox? Oh, here we go. Well, Piper, you may find me despicable, but I value this world. I love people. I love witches and warlocks and demons. I find the cycle of life, what you would call good and evil, necessary. No more than that life. It's in all of its forms, all of its movements. It's a symphony. The return of the old ones would crush it all. Aldercoats wishes to hatch all of the seeds within the bodies of my students while singing Dragula. I may not be good, but I will not stand by and watch him turn my charges into fodder for his wicked plan.
Oh,
Rar.
Right. So
Right.
I like this though because you see that Knox really loves the give and take of the world and finds
Yes.
worth in that.
Yes.
And the fact that the old ones want to destroy that, he's forcing the charmed ones help in a sense, but
Hmm.
he has
It's
something to
kind of
protect.
cool too that it kind of explains why he's such a little bitch, because he does love the world so
Kind
much,
of
but he's entered this
exactly that.
agreement into like destroying it basically.
Yeah.
I would be
Right.
grumpy too.
Right.
Yeah.
You've literally lived your whole life trying to be the balance, and now you are actively becoming the imbalance that is going to be like, the end of the world,
Yeah.
possibly. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
a life of magic ones.
I just
Exactly.
imagine him talking to a student. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry you got a C. I'm bringing about the end of the world."
Yes.
It's like, don't bother me with your trivial student teen drama.
I'm sorry you have zits. I have the
Right.
apocalypse.
You know how I learned magic? In a cave by some man named Alder Coes. You know the things I had to do to get this? I had to do a soul agreement. What did you do? Just have to write some papers?
I had to listen to Living Dead Girl on repeat.
Yes. Oh God.
Amazing. All right, so the next page, and then Piper's like, "Well, I'm in." He's like, "This is all the reason I need to find Alder Coes and vanquish his ass, vanquish his ass." And yeah, we say vanquish here.
That is now how I'm going to always say it, and I just want to thank
Yay!
you both for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Changing the world one person at a time.
That's it. That's it.
Mhm. Yep. We actually have a shirt on the Words of the Witches throughout this story
Ooh.
with a vanquish right in the middle. And it tells you, to
say.
destroy but awkwardly and fabulously.
That is amazing, and will probably be getting bought. I will definitely.
Yeah, take a gander.
Right.
But yeah, Piper's like, "We're gonna vanquish him," and Knox is like, "No, that won't work, bitch. Like, that wouldn't stop because I did a soul agreement. So the only way that it would work is if like one of us killed the other one to break the soul agreement, and I'm not strong enough to fight him. So that's why I got you involved." Oh!
And the one way I know that you will do something by attacking Leo, because we all know that when it comes to Leo, it's on site for Piper at any given time, and it's just it's wild. Yeah, like she has literally would break down heaven and earth for him, and that's real love, guys.
Yeah, so Piper's like, "I'm an idiot. So what happens if we vanquish him?" And he's like, "I will die, and if I die, Leo dies. Get it?"
Here's the gag.
Yeah. But she's such a bitch here. She's like, "Oh, if you die, why is that such a bad thing?" I'm like, okay.
Right.
But yeah, we go into them like making the plan to stop the Advent, and they said that the Advent is today, so we have to act fast and we have to split up. So they get Leo to get in touch with Prue and see if those two can find a way out of the soul agreement. And of course, Prue feels some type of way because y'all only calling me when y'all need me. And she's like, he says, "I need your help." And then she says, "Of course you do. Why would you call?" And that was such a snarky but so Prue thing to say. And I was just like, that's it. That's my Prue.
Why else would you call?
Right.
You guys suck.
Right. You guys are horrible, I guess. I only just like died and came back to life and then died and then came back to life for you. But okay, go off, sis. Like,
yeah. Right, ignore me. I don't care.
Right. I guess I'll be over here in my little, makeshift mansion here and, just be sitting here without my, my future possible boyfriend Cole, and that's, but they get Paige to go to the Knox Academy to keep guard to see if there's anything suspicious or them to Guam, as they say, and of course Piper agrees to go find out Alder Coes and let him know what she thinks of him.
Oh,
yeah.
And he's
Yeah,
like
we see him
picking
like
seeds.
picking at his. Yeah, it's so gross.
Like
It's so
we don't like a good scab picker. You know, you're supposed to keep the
No.
scabs there, babe. Like it's not. That's not.
It's
what
almost
you're-
like he's like Gold member. He's like picking the skin off.
Oh my god!
Ew.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes.
So gross.
We see on the next page, Piper walks up to Rob Zombie and he says, "Ah, charmed one, how did you find me?" And she says, "Gexagio splodied all over my sofa." Oh, he splodied all over my sofa.
Well,
If I had
sounds
a
like a good
dime.
time to me.
So she says, "There are countless ways in which of my power could have tracked you down. Does it really matter how?" He says, No, I suppose it doesn't. No matter your method, I'm so pleased to see you." I don't think he's really pleased to see her.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. And then we see Phoebe talking to Coop on the phone. He called her and he says, "Hey, babe, sorry I missed your visit at the manor. They've got me real busy at the temple." He's at Arrow Justice, your next Judge Judy show.
he's getting punishment. He's getting like tisk tisk Cupid. Yeah.
I would love to see some Cupid court on like Witch TV if there was that.
Yeah.
I feel like Witch Wars is a thing. I feel like that should definitely be a thing. You know.
Yes. And people can be tried for like loving somebody too much.
Yes. Yes. He's love dumping on me. I can't do it.
And then Phoebe says, "It's okay. I just wanted to say hi and that I love you." So that's kind of ominous. And then we see Paige talking to Henry. And Henry says, "I love you too, Paige." And she says, "When you get home, just kiss the kids for me, okay?" And he goes, "Is everything okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, everything's fine." And then we go back to Prue. She says, "No, everything is not okay, Leo. I'm sorry if I'm not handling my abandonment well, but I can't
Period.
help but notice I only see you and your wife when you need something."
Period.
And
Yep.
right? She's like, "Fuck my Jack." And then Leo's like, "Prue, I promise I'll talk to Piper and we'll go down there and figure things out with you. But at the moment, we have a bit of an apocalypse on our hands. So," she's like, "You saved the world without me a bunch of times before. You'll figure it out."
Iconic.
Right.
Yes.
Because that
On
would have
it.
been me. And I was like, you know what? Maybe.
Yeah.
I was like, when I think that sometimes, like when I watch some episodes, I'm like, I would have been like, no, I think you guys got it. Like, and
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm being selfish. And I'm like, oh no, Prue just validated me in the best way with this. Like,
This was so good.
yes.
I'm like, yes.
Right.
This because this tells them how much they've hurt you by ignoring you without any explanation.
Without any explanation. That's wild. Like,
Yeah.
and then haven't seen her, like, especially since she died, like since she came back. Like,
Yep,
I'm like,
right.
she did this for you guys, and like you have
Mhm.
yet to even have the nerve to explain to her why you're not. That's wild, guys.
It's not right. So I'm like,
at
throw
all.
it back at them. They can figure it out.
Yeah.
It's their
Right.
shit to deal with.
When someone else dies, then I might come.
Yeah. It's very, "Why don't you go tell my father? You're good at that."
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then we return to Piper and Mr. Zombie, and she says, "Well, I'm glad you're happy to see me. Fair warning, you might not like what I have to say." And he says, "No need for talk, Piper."
And the next page, we see Rob Zombie with all over the page, clones galore. He says, "Vanquish me!"
He is going to dig through so many ditches now.
And burn through the witches. Yes.
Burn through them all.
This page right here is going to be our power play moment.
Oh.
Power play. So today's power play is cloning. Ooh, yes. And this is the ability to replicate oneself, others, or objects. We have seen it a few times in the show, very rarely. Tuatha has this power because we saw that she cloned her snake.
Mhm.
Ames had this power because he stole it from a witch. And then the only other time we've seen something like this was with the charm of multiplicity with Prue.
Prue, yeah.
And in season 9 with Wyatt, I guess, and Piper. But yeah, in the case of sentient clones, all mental and physical properties are exactly the same as the original. In some cases, this may result in clones that embody only certain aspects of the original source. Like with Prue, we had the id, the ego, and the superego. And due to the possibility of each copy having different experiences, clones may develop unique personalities, identities, and other attributes independent of the user over time. So interesting. In X-Men, let's use Multiple Man as an example.
Yay!
I love a good X-Men moment. Let's do it.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. I believe that when he absorbs his clones back into him, he absorbs the memories of what they had, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's interesting. However, if a clone in Charmed, if a clone has apparent emotions, they are false because the clones have no actual soul.
Right.
Huh.
Or clones can have like a hive mind, so like they all share the same brain, kind of like, so the user like makes them all think the same. And this is not to be confused with like illusion powers, where they fabricate replica images, but they're not actual clones.
Right, like a
interesting
symbiote moment.
Stuff. Yeah.
And you know what's really fun about this?
What?
Just before we started recording, actually, I just started the Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones comic where somebody is cloning her and splicing her brain with villains. So there's like a Doc Ock Gwen.
How is that
and there's
comic?
the Sandman Gwen.
How is that comic? I've been seeing it. I was kind of low-key intrigued about reading that, actually.
I really enjoyed the first one. That's as far as I got, though, because I'm 3 months behind because I'm on the Marvel Unlimited app.
Oh, we love a good Marvel Unlimited. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's cool though. It's a big cloning is a big thing in like almost every media imaginable.
To be honest, yeah.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to powers, that's definitely gonna be one of somebody's.
Now we have a question for you now, Aaron.
Okay.
So Kevin and I have talked about this at length, but if we could have a clone, we would totally fuck ourselves. Are you on the same page?
That's a good question. I think that's the best question I got all year. I would probably diddle myself. I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably do a little diddle, and we'd probably I'd probably find somebody to give a great experience to. That'd be amazing.
It's just masturbation to the next level.
I mean, pretty much. I don't have to worry about getting me pregnant, so we're fine.
See?
I'm gonna go to the next presidential candidate thing and raise my hand. Mr. Trump, Mr. Biden.
yes. No, I know. Okay, yes, healthcare, yes, money. Well, but would you fuck yourself if you were a clone? All right. Inquiring minds want to know. That's what I need to know what my president's gonna do. All right. So the next page, of course, goes into Piper vanquishing all the multiples of Alder Coes, and she does a coward. And when I see Alder Coes, I think that he has just like this pervy, deep voice that has this a little bit of sass to it, like. It's just yes, that's it. Oh God. But then a blast comes from the Knox Academy, and Paige sees it from outside, and she orbs in to go see what's going on, and she says that's not normal. And she says, I think that'll be the title of my autobiography.
I love that.
I would read that. Perfect. I would read that. I was, oh God, it'll be that's not normal.
Not normal.
A Matthew story. God. But then it goes to Piper with all the clones disappearing, and she just says, "Damn."
So then we see Paige blorbles in with Piper and says, "The school now, it's going down." And they reappear next to Leo, and they see all the students are running, and somebody says, "Is that the charmed ones?" Is that the elder? He's hotter than his entry in the codex.
I love that
Get
moment.
it, Leo.
Yeah, and that's some like male students saying that too. So
Hey.
Yeah. I love
Yeah,
it.
the comics
Happy
are
Pride.
very more queer for it, and I loved it.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh God. Like, oh, and Tyler, yeah. Like, I mean, let's be honest. Like, are we the only one who didn't like know that Tyler? Like, I figured even from the show, I was like, Tyler's queer, right? Like,
We talked about that. Listen to our Pat Shand interview. We talk about that.
I
with
will.
him
Okay, thank you.
because-
All right.
Yeah.
I called it too. The first time I saw the episode, I was like, this girl is so gay.
All right, sis. We know, right?
We
You
know.
gotta say.
You don't have to come out. You already did.
Right.
I've made you come out.
Look at that haircut. Look at that power. Look at that bitchy attitude of yours. No, honey.
that voice.
He puts the flame in flamboyant. Okay, like
right.
right,
You
like
got flamer powers?
he's a
That's
fire
weird.
starter. What a coincidence!
Flamer.
Such a flavor. Oh my god, I feel so seen.
Okay. So we see one of the teachers like, thank goodness you're here. The school is under attack. No shit. The school is under attack. And headmaster Porny Professor X is nowhere to be found. And Paige says, Alder Rose, where is he? As if she knows who that is. And then Leo's like, I feel orb sick. And then Piper says, be careful, and then they get blasted by the green.
Blasted by the green. Okay. So the next page, all these clones. He's like, you cannot stop the advent, charmed ones.
Ew.
The magic is beyond your ken. But then Knox steps forward. He's like, but I know what you are. I know how to defeat you. He's like, we had an agreement, Knox. And then the nurse lady with the third eye, who's like in love with Knox apparently, she's like, I'm your fag hag.
Yes. She is that, and that is her.
But he's like, I didn't raise these students for your slaughter, Coz. You think you can best me? And he's like, shoots all his fire at him. And they're like destroying all these clones. Paige is orbing pieces of clones away, I guess. I don't know. And then
Right.
Piper's exploding them. Leo's punching one in the face. They're like, which one's the real one? I don't know.
But yeah, the next page they go into the where all you see is where are you? Which one is the real you? And we get a picture of Phoebe saying, "What are you feeling?" And it's finally someone says it's finally happening. No, that's not. That's Alder. Okay. And the ancients will finally rise. Oh wait, let me do my voice. The ancients will finally rise, and I will be a god. There, Phoebe says.
So do you get what's happening here?
Yes.
So like all these little like blibbles, nubbles, these like unfathomable words that don't mean anything. Those are the clones because she can't read any emotion coming from them.
And
but the one that's talking,
their thoughts.
Yeah, sensing the
I'm
empathy.
Smart now. Okay.
Yeah. This was such a cool moment because we thought Phoebe was on her book tour, but she was telling Coop,
She shows up.
I'm gonna go help him.
Yeah.
So next, Alder goes, Phoebe. And she's like, that's the real
It's
one.
like the Woogieman.
Baby.
Phoebe. So then he starts spreading his seed, if you will, Winky Face.
It's perfect.
But literally, like, shooting his seed out of his arm.
Yeah.
And the
yeah.
nurse lady in her dress, she's like, no!
That is her voice.
And then Piper's like, freeze. But it looks like, if I read this right, the seeds don't freeze. They keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This bitch. Like, come on, Piper. You freeze Alder Coes, but you don't freeze the seeds.
Right? How dare you?
I'm like, you did that on purpose.
You trying to let them get that seed?
Yeah.
Stop it. My couch.
Yeah.
My couch.
So the next page, we see Knox step in front of the children, and he takes the seed. He's like, "Oh yes, Daddy Zombie.
Oh yeah.
Breed
So
me."
deep.
This is how I want to spend my Friday.
And then we see the nurse. She's like, "Montgomery."
Babe.
But he's like completely blasted. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely covered, green everywhere. He's like, he's like, "Oh God, it's beautiful. It's a symphony, ecstasy, the orgasm of my life." But I love that this is very poetic because before he was talking about how the world was, he talked about it as a symphony. So it's interesting how this is a nice parallel, plur, if you will. We say that, we call that plur.
Plur.
Yeah. So he's got seed holes everywhere, and his glowing goo green dusty stuff, and then he falls to the floor, used and abused. Yeah.
He's abused. You know, guys, I don't think I would want that kind of seed, I guess.
No.
It's a lot to handle.
All right, I think this time I'm going to have to decline.
Yeah, I'm busy that day.
Right. You know, I think I have something to do. But then it goes in. Piper runs to Leo and she says, he says, "Yeah, I'm fine." Because of course we see him die, and I guess the soul agreement doesn't affect him, I guess, in a just yet. So they say, "What about?" So they look. Paige and Phoebe look at a frozen, Alder, and they say, "What about him?" Phoebe tells him everything that he's feeling is too much, and Piper in anger says, I'll gladly end that for him," and blows him up and explodes all his green goo on everybody, I guess. But then they see that Phoebe came back, and Piper goes up to hug her, and she says, "Of course I did. You needed me." And Piper says, "How did you know?"
So this was our Nickelodeon moment.
Right. And it kind of, I feel like that was one of those moments where like the power of one is like, that's one of those moments where you see the power of one actively get stronger as it happened. Cause like no one told her about it. But you just pop up on us. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. I love that you brought up the power of one, because we had a whole conversation about that in season 9, and you had a very important TikTok about it.
Yes.
So the power of one is essentially just an advanced power of 3. It's like the next level,
right?
And a next state of being,
right?
So,
and like ever since like that, right? Ever since we get that one episode of them, what was it, in season 1 ish? When it first started coming about, when they were at the altar with
that's Witch
Abraxas?
Trial, season 2, episode 1.
Season 2, yeah, that's it. That's it. Their anniversary. Yes.
Cool. I want to say, are you questioning why Leo didn't die here?
I was.
I have an explanation.
Oh, go ahead.
Because the agreement that he made with Knox was that the Charmed Ones would help him with Alder Coves. And because all 3 of them came to join this fight, that agreement was fulfilled.
Mm.
You was smart. You was kind. You was important.
So
Yeah. So cool.
I never would have thought about that. Thank you. Okay.
I feel smarter.
Right. I feel like we all just learned something and embraced that today, and I love that for us.
Yeah.
My heart. Yes.
Right.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
So on the next page, much like Knox was probably feeling, Phoebe says, I felt it. I felt that you needed my help.
I'm dead.
You're welcome. And then we see Piper and Leo in their bed. They're getting ready to go to sleep. And Piper's like, you look like a man on death row. And Leo's like, I'm sorry I put you through that. We've been through enough. I can't believe Stop. You're fine. You're alive. And you're not going to do it again. And Leo says, I just wanted to make everything okay. I wanted to find out about the Athame, fix that, and then give you what you want, I guess. A normal life. And she's like, I've been thinking about that a lot. For years, a normal life is all I wanted, but nothing about us is normal. Nothing about us has ever been normal. And yet, I love you. If this is all we get, the strangeness, the monsters, the fight, you putting on diapers and making me spank you with a paddle,
You know.
I'm starting to think I'm okay with that.
I love how you casually put that in there, and I was like, I had to look back, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, girl, I was like, oh, Piper, I didn't think I could relate to you any more than I do. Okay. I was like, she is truly my good sis, and I love this.
And then she says, as long as you're next to me, I have everything I've ever wanted. And he says, I am amazed at how easily I've gotten off the hook. And she's like, just pay me back with, 1,000 fucks would do it.
Right,
And then he
that back
says,
out would do it really quick.
he says, Piper, there's one more thing. And she's like, if you made another deal, no, it's not that. It's just,
You know what, though? This was a Rent reference. Just pay me back with 1,000 kisses.
Oh, you're right.
Yes.
Be my lover. Yeah, it was totally that moment. So,
Yes, this is truly a
Like-
Pride episode, and I love it.
yeah, I think that's where that came from. I noticed it, Pat Shand. Thank you.
And I ruined it. I ruined everything.
God.
All right, so the final page. Oh, we see night, and there's a thing that Leo says, continuing. He's like, "We have to talk about Prue," and then we see wind in the night. We see Knox Academy, and they have a gravestone for him already there. R.E.P. Montgomery Knox. Oh,
What?
okay, that was fast.
Right? But, you know, magic.
Buried. Yeah,
Magic.
magic. But then, out of the gravestone, a hand! Ah! A zombie! And he's like, I live! And he erupts, and tentacles come out of him, so we know that the seeds have sprouted.
He's pregnant.
He's pregnant.
Yay, a baby!
If you ask me, you probably should have swallowed, but you know, that's neither here nor there, I guess.
You know.
Maybe it's me, maybe it's Maybelline, but you know.
And that's the end. Wow.
Yes.
So, what are our thoughts on this issue? Who wants to go first?
Ooh, I'll let Sean go first.
Okay.
I have to go first.
Yeah.
I really like this. This was very actiony, very story-y. I finally got my wish of seeing like what the big bad is. We're back to like the ancient one, so that was pretty cool. And like there's so much emotion going on. This is a very like sisterly, very Leo-y issue. So just taking the time to like have a full page of the sisters saying goodbye to their loved ones, like that's attention to
Yeah.
detail, and that's a lot. So this is
And it's really
good.
cool how all their conversations kind of merged into each other. That was really kind of neat.
Like I completely agree. Like this issue was a really, I keep saying episode every time I talk about these comics, but every like this issue was a really good little blend. Like especially with showing it's kind of, you know what's funny? It's kind of like Phoebe's the one trying to balance the normal life, where Piper is starting to finally get used to her life not being normal. And I did love that panel that you read with Piper and Leo in the room talking, said a normal life used to be all I used to ever want, but now, you know, I've realized our life has never been normal. And that's kind of exactly what I've always wanted for her. Like she finally gets that closure, like, yes, our life is never going to be normal like everybody else's, but she's kind of starting to deal with like, yes, this is our normal and we have to get used to it. And that was a moment that I've been waiting for Piper to have, because we all know, like, she has lived on, I just want a normal life.
Once every season, at least. She's on that kick.
At least.
Yeah. So this is major growth for her character. accepting that finally. Although if it's something that will stick, who knows?
But, right.
She'll have another.
Right. She'll definitely probably want a normal life at 2 weeks from now. But until then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that she's
some sort of
starting
growth.
to at least accept it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And her, I do like I love Paige. I'm liking Paige more in this for some reason. I wish that for some reason she had more power, like witch powers than anything. I feel like that's always been one of my crosses that I had to bear with her.
Yeah. Who's your favorite sister, by the way? I don't know if I ever asked.
Oh no. Okay, so my favorite sister is Piper. Always and forever. I am Piper, and Piper is me in ways, but in a lot of ways I am like Phoebe. I'm the most like Phoebe, and I hate that about myself. When it comes to finding love, I'm like, I am Phoebe Halliwell and she is me.
I love that you said that because I feel the same way. I am Phoebe, but Paige is my favorite. So it's funny that we both identify with Phoebe, but we don't want to be her.
Right? It's that exactly. I'm like, I love her, but I ain't trying to be her. I mean,
I feel like I think every man is like a Phoebe though when it comes to that stuff.
Yes. And essentially, and let's be real, every gay man has been a Phoebe at some point in their life. I mean, we've all looked for love in all the wrong places, and we have definitely been a Chris Stapleton song at some point.
For me, I like this issue a lot too. I did have some things that irked me though. Piper really bothered me in this issue, besides the end part. Because I feel like how she said she's like that's a bad thing about Knox's life. Like you don't have to like the guy. But the fact that you could care less about if he dies, I feel like she's acting like no one would care. Like he has a school full of staff and youths. Like people would care if he died. It was a bit heartless even for her.
Yeah. Look, she said, "You're messing with my husband. Everything is off the table. Everything's off the table." Look, did we not
freezing
remember
those seeds?
Right.
I'm not freezing those seeds.
Did we not forget how she slugged Billy in the last season in that burnt out and the broken out and the blown up house? I was like, yeah, this is Piper to her core when it comes to Leo.
That's true. No holds barred.
No holds barred.
I love when she tells Sandra off, that bitch Sandra, when they try to take Leo away. I'm like, I don't want to see you or your kind ever again.
Yes. Yeah, right.
So
I was like, you better tell him. Look, because if I was her, let's be real, I would have vanquished the elders a long time ago. They have interfered in our lives too much, especially in season 9. They actively and aggressively interfered with them and their children. I was like, oh yeah, no, you got to get
out of here.
We're the power of 3 is about to set you free for real, and the elders have always constantly pissed me off, and I've always been on her side ever since that faithful moment out in the P3 parking lot when she yells at them,
I will stand here in this very spot until you bring him to me. Yeah.
Yes. The way I viscerally cried as she did that as a probably 13 or so, just sitting there yes, please bring her back to her, please. She loves him. You don't get it.
All right, let's move on to
canonical.
Do we have anything that goes against lore or is a strong callback?
I have a small gripe on page 2.
Ooh, okay.
Because the manor looks so far from any other house, but I'm like, it's pretty close to their houses.
A little bit.
They're not in front of a park. Where do the neighbors go?
Yeah.
I was like, they have this much. I was like, that's why the rent was so high. That's why everybody needed a job in here, because all this space right here.
Just blew up the neighbors, blew up Dan and the lady that moved into there.
Right.
And Jenny. Thank God they blew up Jenny, though.
Oh, God. Thank God.
I have one thing for here. I love the consistency of Piper and Phoebe's appreciation of Leo's ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the one I was gonna say too.
Yeah. I mean, way back in season 1, finest glutes in the city. Yes, and then we had it again in season 9, and I thought, Phoebe, we're a little moved past this. You don't need to be hitting on Leo again. But I'm like, okay,
girl, you got
I guess that's a constant in your life.
Right. Sometimes we need that stability, and that's his ass is her stability, and we love it. And of course, the genes, the infamous Leo genes.
Yeah. Okay, next is tips for future white lighters.
Oh, we're really just messengers? Guides? Think of us as guardian angels for good witches.
Tips for future white lighters.
I was out being a force of good in the universe.
And this is the moral of the story. So what is our moral?
I think we said in the beginning. I think you said in the beginning that everything isn't black and white. Like there's gray areas to a lot of things, and his story is very much evidence to that. And like, to be honest, his story kind of reminded me of Cole's story a little bit, like in the fact that his father was a human, his mother was a witch, and like it was a demon, and yet like though those sides were always warring in between him, but he took a different choice than Cole and decided that I will support the balance of both good and evil, and that there's not always a good way and a bad way to handle things. Sometimes it just is what it is, kind of.
Yeah. This comic made me like Knox, which I didn't think that was probably possible.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like when I heard his story, I was like, okay, I see you, I guess. Like go off, sis. I say he definitely gives, like I said, chaotic bi energy for sure. But I get it now. I get where the chaos comes from.
I would say what really resonated with me is the idea of choices, like especially in being unemployed and looking for a job right now. There's been so many like scammy type things that have come across my table. So you really have to be careful with yourself and like what choices you make, so you don't end up being a Knox and regretting what you did in the past.
Right.
Ooh,
right.
Yeah.
That's deep one. That's a deep cut. I like that. I like that.
I like to go deep.
We always love a good deep, going a little deep.
My couch.
My couch. Full circle.
My tip is going to be kind of what I talked about in the beginning. I said not everything will fit into a pretty little box, a pretty little category. Especially nothing regarding morality or the human condition. I mean, really, it's so complicated, so nuanced. And it's important to acknowledge the gray areas in life and the complexities that may exist within yourself as well as others. And that's what this is all about for me.
Yeah.
So,
there's
no onomatopoeia. I couldn't find a single one in this issue.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
Right? That's weird. I was like,
weird.
In this one issue. Like, you would think that there would be one. Like, I would get a good little harumph oof, like something, nothing.
I could have used a glorp when he's exploding.
Yes, curse splat, and oh no, my couch. Like, we get nothing.
I'm clutching my pearl.
Woo! All right, let's go to most valuable panel. What's the most valuable?
Ooh, that's a good question. I was gonna say when he exploded when Alder exploded all over Knox, but I guess if I'm thinking meaningful to me and valuable, I would say the moment with Piper and Leo in the room talking about her, getting into accepting her life as what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this very first image with Rob Zombie with the Gexagiel dude on his knees, like, because this introduces the Ancient Ones. It shows us who the big villain is. It shows us like maybe there was more to Gexagiel than just being, just the demon of the week. Like it sets up everything from here on out.
My most valuable panel is when Knox willingly takes the seeds.
Yes. We were here for it.
But to me it's important because to me this action is taken to protect those that he considers innocent. He's protecting the innocents, his students, but also maybe he's doing this to atone for the questionable activity of his past, for his choices that he made. and to show that he is stepping up now when he failed to fight for what mattered to him when he was younger. He failed to fight for his parents, and he lost them, and he felt really upset about that. So this is his way of making up for that.
Ooh,
And that's what makes this really powerful.
I like that.
Wow.
Yeah. I analyze things.
Right? Because you're giving me food for thought, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
You're so good at analyzing.
Oh, thank you.
Just always remember, it's all about breathing.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of, what's the sexiest drawing? Oh, I'm all tingly over here. Sexiest.
Do we have to say it? It's when he got exploded on.
I'm going with this guy. The guy with the V on his shirt. I'm obsessed. Like, I went to my first online class last night, and my past supervisor's in there with me. He's the one who told me about it. And there's this guy in our class. He came on the screen. He's got like pentacles and like demonic tattoos. He's wearing a beanie. And my past supervisor's like, "You want him, don't you?" I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I want him so bad. I just love inside me. My couch.
Amazing.
That's a seat I wouldn't mind taking.
Oh yeah. Mine is the Leo butt shot, because it got me thinking of Brian Krause's butt, which is really fantastic in real life.
That was my first thought.
It's so good.
Yeah. Like there are moments where I was like, I wasn't attracted to Leo, but there are moments where I'm like, when he had those specific jeans on, I was like, okay, the ass is assing. We see it. I was like, I get it. I can get where Wyatt gets his good looks from, I guess. Because future Wyatt is bae always and forever, guys. I think I should just say that now. That's my truth.
I met him. He's super sexy.
God,
your couch.
No, my couch. It's ruined because
he was so adorable. Oh my gosh!
And the fact that he looks like evil or good Wyatt, I'm like, you know what? I think I can be his evil. I think I can be his evil queen. Like,
I'll take Nickelback. Yes, I'll take Nickelback, but I don't care.
Like, it was at that moment that, like, when I saw him, when I saw Evil Wyatt, I was like, I get why Phoebe turned evil. I'd definitely be a queen. I'd definitely be his queen. I get it.
All right, so now we're at issue ranking. Is this magically delicious, pretty witchin', a sorcerer's apprentice, disenchanting, or vanquishable?
I'm going to say, as much as I really liked it, it is kind of like a transition story, like setting up the rest for us. So I'm going to give it pretty witchin' because it didn't quite go all the way for me, like Knox did.
I was gonna give it Sorcerer's Apprentice because I was like, I did love Knox's story. That was a good part about it, but I was like, it is like a transitional, like, you see that this is ramping up to something a big, bad.
Yeah. And
like, especially after getting the 2 issues before it, and like where my heart was basically snatched out of my chest. Yeah. And like we just, oh God, there was so much we could have had. Like, okay, now that we're done doing this, can we talk? Can I say that was I the only one who kind of wanted Prue and Cole to?
You were not the only one.
No, we talk about it all the time. We asked Pat Shand about it. He didn't. Spoilers. They do get into a little bit in future issues. Yes. There's a little thing coming up. Sean does not know about this yet, so I'm not going to go into it. But they do talk about it. But yeah, I mean, I think it would have been interesting. I'm going to say Pretty Witchin' as well, because this was good. There's lots of great things happening, but there were things that weren't quite there. There's things that irked me. So yeah, it's right there in Pretty Witchin'.
Yeah.
So now we're going to do our P is for poll question for next week.
Prue? Piper. You mean it's just you and Prue, huh?
Phoebe? Phoebe, you there?
And a big hello to you too, Penny.
Come on, Patty. The rest is up to them.
Paige. My name is Paige.
Another P, imagine that.
P is for poll. This question is going to get a little Lovecraftian. It's which of the great old ones, besides Cthulhu, would you want to see? And these are your options. We have Shoggoth, which is a blob monster covered in eyes. We have Azathoth, a worm monster lulled into hibernation, and if it opens its eyes, the universe is instantly destroyed. There's Yog Sothoth, which is an omniscient being who defies visualization in the material world, so nobody even knows what he looks like. Usually he's just like very abstract if he does appear. He knows like everything. And then there's Nyarlathotep. Narlathotep. Narlathotep. Yes. And this is a chaos beast that can shapeshift, and when in human form, they often appear as a pharaoh. So they're essentially the scariest con man ever.
Oh. I thought I had it to that last one. God.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the Yog-Sothoth, the Yog-Sothoth.
Okay.
Yeah, that one, because I was
Yog-Sothoth.
Yeah, Yog-Sothoth, and I was like, that one sounds like a interesting villain that I would love to see what they could do with that. I feel like that would be
cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'd want to see Cthulhu.
Well, I figure like Gexagiel is pretty much Cthulhu already.
Yeah. No, I agree with Aaron. I want to see Yog-Sothoth.
Okay. I'm gonna say the Imhotep one. I'm just saying Narlathotep, just because he can really like infiltrate people and really like swoon them, make them fall in love with him. If somebody like sees his true form, his beast form, they like go mad instantly. They go insane just from looking at him. So I'll say that one. All right. Well, that's fun. So we did it, you guys.
We did it.
Oh my gosh, this was amazing.
I love
Thank
this.
you for coming on.
Of course.
Wow.
Thank you guys for having me. I enjoyed this thoroughly, and anytime I can get talk about the Hollowell sisters, I'm gonna do it. I love it.
Yeah. So tell people where they can see all of your shindigs and your TikToks and analyses.
Yes. So you guys can find me at King of Thrones on TikTok, and I am putting some pretty good Charmed content out there right now about the comics. You should guys come check me out, show love.
You can find me on Marvelous Galaxy of Disney, where we have your weekly Star Wars Disney Marvel news. Or I'm so excited to announce it on this show now. My newest venture is with my friend Victoria, and I have started a travel company called My Magical Journey. So that's also the website, mymagicaljourneys.com. So if you do want to come to California, we've got it all for you. We could hook you up with ghost adventures, drag shows, Disneyland tickets, Universal. Just let us know. No extra cost. We will plan your vacation for you.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. And I actually have to backtrack a little bit because, Sean, I forgot to ask you what's next.
I know. I was going to show it to you, but I was just going with the flow.
Yeah, so what's next?
You just want to cause drama before I get to you. Okay, I see. So we have this beautiful picture of Paige sitting and reading a book, and the episode issue is called Love is a Burning Thing. And it says, when Tyler Michaels discovers his powers evolving beyond that of a fire starter, he seeks out Paige, who has disturbing answers for him. Yes. Meanwhile, Coop and Henry plot to pull off the impossible, and they just might have to call on a newly empowered Tyler for help. As a new arc begins in season 10, the truth about Prue's isolation, I'm so excited, at the hands of her sisters will come to light. Everything is about to change.
Oh my goodness.
I can't wait for you to figure it out. I can't wait for you to find out. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
It's going to get very gay, Sean. It's going to get very
so
gay.
Good. You're going to love it. Oh, God.
I won't read it on my couch. I promise.
Please don't. If you ever love your couch, just don't do it. Try to read it,
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be a fire starter, all right.
A wicked fire starter.
Wicked fire starter. He's gonna put the flame and flamboyance, and we love it for him. We want that. We want that.
Yeah, get ready. I'm excited. But yeah, also you can find Sean and I on our other podcast, Solving for X, where we're covering the X-Men animated series right now from the 90s.
Oh, nice.
It's going so great. We're having a good old time.
Right.
And then you can follow this podcast at Words of the Witches on
Right.
Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. If you're on Twitter, it's Words of Witches. And yeah. Oh, and if you want to find that Von Queese shirt, go to wordsofthewitches.threadless.com. Lots of cool designs there still.
I shall definitely be checking that out. And oh yeah, I also wanted to say that you guys can also check my comics podcast with my friend Antonio at Life Friends Podcast. It's pretty good. We're on our 30th-ish episode, going on 31. So it's been going pretty good. We talk about random comic things. I'm the X-Men aficionado. He's Spider-Man, but we like to go into a little mix.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's it then. Oh my god.
Yes.
Well, thank you. This was a blast.
Thank you so much.
Seeds everywhere.
Seeds everywhere. The couch is fucked, but I am here for it.
So we will see you next week, Spellworders. Your destiny still awaits.